Here I am back in the office after spending the most incredible year of my life in Greece. As a middle-aged writer, I finally had the chance to realize a lifelong dream, to explore Greece for a few months and perhaps figure out why this little land continues to exert such a huge influence on me and on the imagination of almost everyone I know. Now I have a stone in my pocket and a story to tell. Well, as a boy, first I loved dinosaurs and then cowboys, but then abandoned them both for the more enduring passion of Greek mythology. The gods and goddesses, heroes and stories of ancient Greece awoke my slumbering imagination and lured me onto a path of discovery and my own brand of storytelling. Where to begin? Shall I begin with the ever-present sea, or with the 1,000 dazzling islands, or with golden beaches of breathless beauty, or with mountains, villages, rivers, and waterfalls, or with temples, castles, and monasteries? I had traveled all over the world for work and play, and I thought that this trip to Greece would be no different. A month of exploring and research, looking for stories and pictures. But I ended up spending almost a year. Although I had read everything I could before coming to Greece, I wasn't prepared for the light. How clear and gentle and soothing it was. I suddenly experienced light for the very first time in my life as something completely new and different. The light of Greece opened my eyes, penetrated my pores, expanded my whole being. I climbed the rock of the Acropolis, drinking in the fragrant air and bathing in this miraculous light. Cares seemed to melt away. I felt free, relaxed, and open. And I started seeing things again like a child, as if for the very first time, with surprise and wonder. Why is the light so different in Greece? I don't know, but it is. And slowly, I started to become aware of, what can I call it, a divine presence? Everywhere else, the light just is, like your skin, vital but unnoticed. In Greece, it takes on a new dimension. It's legendary, dazzling, luminous, soft, tangible, infinite, spiritual. Here the light goes directly to the soul, opens the doors and windows of the heart, makes one naked, exposed, isolated in a metaphysical bliss which makes everything clear without being known. That's when it struck me like an arrow, and I understood what the ancient Greeks felt about Apollo, the god of light, and why he commanded, and still commands, such power and worship. This sensation first hit me with all of its force on the island of Delos, where visitors still whisper in awe as they stroll through Apollo's lion-guarded sanctuary. And just as Apollo and Athena are brother and sister, seeing clearly and thinking clearly go hand in hand, light and illumination. Wherever you go all over the world, in every city and town, every university, museum, library, or bookshelf owes something important to Athena, goddess of knowledge and wisdom. It was a Greek idea that knowledge makes us free, and that the search for truth is the greatest good of all. The passion and creativity of that golden age, when Athens became the school of the ancient world, illuminated every facet of life, from politics and science to philosophy and art. This unique civilization profoundly shaped who we are and how we live, even today. It celebrated the triumph of reason over the violent and irrational, of democracy over the darkness of tyranny. It taught us to govern ourselves with moderation, to heal ourselves with the use of logic, and to express ourselves and our inner soul through art. It taught us about the rights and responsibilities of the individual, about the value of struggle, and the dignity of being fully human and free. And so, with Apollo lighting the way, I set out to explore more of Greece, starting with the kingdom of Poseidon, god of the dark blue sea. The Greeks live on and by the sea, and every part of their lives is touched by Poseidon and his waves. I had 1,000 Aegean islands to explore, ready to start life again with a fresh adventure, to sail into some new harbor, seen in the morning light for the very first time. Out of the sea, as if Homer himself had arranged it for me, the islands emerged, archipelago of dreams, stepping stones of summer, lonely, deserted, mysterious in the fading light. The Aegean island rises out of the sea like a huge loaf of petrified bread. The very rocks are symbols of life eternal. Nowhere on earth has God been so lavish with them as in Greece. How easy it is to travel to an island and to imagine the possibility of another life. I sailed and swam, explored and saw many wonderful things. So many brilliant images to store and retrieve. Secret and marvelous places and islands off the beaten track, unmentioned in guidebooks, unexpected and amazing. Sugar cube villages tumble down mountain slopes and spill into the sea. Island life at first seems too beautiful to be true, but it is very true. It's the distillation of life and all its simple pleasures, which you savor all day long, and then share with family and friends as the sun sets in the sea. And when the day is done, the moon and her stars paint the sky in brilliant constellations, named from Greek mythology by ancient sailors navigating their way from island to island across the broad sea. Rose-colored beaches of breathless beauty, bathed in golden light. The delicate and delightful threshold of land and sea, where ordinary life, with its cares and worries, disappears, dissolved in the sun and sea, where Aphrodite, goddess of love, lust, and loving kindness, emerges from the waves. The light transforms us as we journey, and the journey transforms us as well. Greece is where I really learned how to travel, not just to get somewhere, but for knowledge, adventure, and pleasure. I finally understood why it took my boyhood hero, Odysseus, 10 long years to make his way back from the Trojan War to his home on the island of Ithaca, and the things he saw and wrestled with and loved. The great Greek poet Konstantinos Kavafi said it this way: "As you set out for Ithaca, hope that your road is long, full of adventure and discovery." And not just the islands, and not just summer. As I traveled through the Greek countryside with its incredible variety, I began to appreciate the kindness and harmony of the land, which, like the Greek light, is never harsh or threatening. It breathes. It beckons. It answers. Rich fields of wheat express gratitude to Demeter and her daughter Persephone for the bountiful gifts of the earth and the joys of the changing seasons. The olive trees which dot the Greek landscape, some of them over 1,000 years old, are the gifts of Athena, a wise gift indeed. It's hard to taste an authentic Greek meal without thanking these goddesses for their gifts and eternal generosity. Locked inside the autumn harvest of grapes lives the spirit of the most restless god of all, Dionysus, god of wine and spontaneous joy. Family meals and feasts and random outbursts of celebration. Here, Dionysus is at home, and all are welcome. Summer ends, and life in Greece ripens toward the fullness and transformation of autumn. Birds and animals are on the move, and nature wears new colors as we walk through the forest with Artemis by our side. The call of adventure drew me upward, into the thin air and snow. I knew about the Aegean Sea and the Greek islands, but I wasn't prepared for the mountains, how dramatic and beautiful they were in this special light. I thought that I would be disappointed in my quest for my childhood gods and heroes, but they were here as well, in their mountain home. Ageless peaks capped with snow still echo with Zeus's thunder. Everywhere I turned, there they were. Once upon a time, the father of the gods let loose 2 eagles who swept over the whole earth and met again here at Delphi, the center of the ancient world. For thousands of years, visitors have journeyed from all over the world to this sacred spot, suspended between heaven and earth, to consult the famous oracle and to experience the tangible divinity of light. In Olympia, a fertile, peaceful valley embraced by gentle hills and rivers, Hercules founded the Olympic Games. For centuries, men honored Zeus and Hera in temples, monuments, sculptures, and festivals. The Olympic Games, held every 4 years, united the people of the ancient Greek world who traveled under a sacred truce. And even today, the Olympic spirit, an eternal flame, continues to burn bright. Games and contests of the Olympics celebrated not only the dignity of struggle and the glory of human excellence, but the timelessness of art and beauty as well. All those things men do to celebrate nature and add to its abundance. Traveling through Greece, everywhere you discover ancient theaters that still gather the energy of the earth and sky and echo with drama and music as they did long ago. As Henry Miller said, "At Epidaurus I felt a stillness so intense that for a fraction of a second I heard the great heart of the world beat, and I understood the meaning of pain and sorrow." Drama was born here, both comedy and tragedy. The plays revealed then, and still reveal now, the complexity and tremendousness of man. And when a new god came onto the scene, introduced by another traveler through Greece, St. Paul, he was also welcomed and accommodated. In sacred hills and valleys and islands that once celebrated the deities of earth and sky, Byzantine churches and monasteries were built. The old gods took on new names. Ancient feasts and celebrations, now with a new layer of meaning, still mark the passage of the seasons and still express the Greek people's gratitude for the bounty of nature and the miracle of life. The Venetian harbors of Greece, whole towns of stone, no longer defend, but welcome. Hills and mountains and almost every island are crowned with forts and castles, walls and battlements. Stone towers dot the countryside, and where cannons and pirates once contended, visitors stroll and explore. Temples, castles, and churches, not dead shrines to the past, but reminders of how Greeks have responded, and still respond, to this unique and miraculous land. And the values, too, the land's most precious inheritance. Beauty, measure, proportion, and human scale show a balance between man and nature and make visible the dimensions of the heart. And every place so unique, so different, so special. But the most wonderful Greek addition to life, in my opinion, is the village. Whether on a Cycladic island or nestled in the folds of a mountain, the Greek village expresses the joys and rhythms of human life in harmony with nature. Nothing is ordinary or dull. Everything, every place, and everyone you meet is bursting with stories. Just pause for a moment and listen. In ancient times, Greeks believed that the gods, especially Zeus, roamed the earth disguised as tired and hungry travelers. Hospitality to strangers has ever since been a kind of religion here. The village is the headquarters of Greek hospitality, where neighbors greet each other or welcome strangers with open arms, saying, "Ya su phile," hello friend, and share a drink or a bite to eat. I was a little wiser now about how to travel and see things with fresh eyes, and how to understand things with the senses and not just the mind. When I returned to Athens, I found that my new friends had organized a farewell party at one of our favorite tavernas. In Greece, I have met men who were like men ought to be. That is to say, open, frank, natural, spontaneous, warm-hearted. I would say that there's no more direct, approachable, easy man to deal with than the Greek. He becomes a friend immediately. He goes out to you. He gives and takes without reserve. The important thing was a warm hand clasp, the glass we raised to our lips in sign of friendship. In Greece, there's always something to celebrate. All the senses and emotions are engaged by the music, wine, and food, and laughter and stories, and when all other means of expression are exhausted, in dance. I dearly love such occasions, and I now knew how to really enjoy them.
Υπερωτευμένος με τα μάτια σου.
That night, I was dangerously tempted. If I were not to go now, then I should stay forever, turn my back on the world, renounce everything. The world must become small again, as the old Greek world was, small enough to include everybody. Greece has given me this incredible gift that I could now take with me anywhere, the ability to seize the moment and enjoy the fullness of life.